All right, we are going to move to Russia. 2007, if we look back, the combined economic output of Brazil, Russia, India, and China was half that of the U.S. Now it is almost even. Look at that. Size matters. BRIC leaders arrive in Ufa, Russia today for their annual meeting. Vladimir Putin just spoke. Ian Bremmer takes economic strength and he weights it for political risk. When we look at the BRIC summit, this annual event, will it ever be more important than the G7?
No. It won't be more important, but it will increasingly challenge it. Ufa, sunny Bashkortostan in the middle of Volga in Russia. We're all very excited. We're all focusing our gaze directly at it. But there's no question that the Russians see their involvement in the BRICS, their involvement increasingly in a lot of Chinese-led international institutions, Shanghai Cooperation Organization, the Asian Infrastructure Investment Bank, as the way that not only they avoid U.S. pressure, but also the way they challenge U.S. global hegemony on the economic and on the security side. It's effective. And I think, when I talk to Russian officials, they're talking about how they want to create with the Chinese a whole bunch of economic infrastructure that ultimately undermines American power.
This is what is that economic infrastructure? Is this the One Road? Is this the new Silk Road? Is this the transit to Europe? What's the most important piece of infrastructure?
Well, I guess right now it's the fact that the Chinese are spending over $1 trillion building infrastructure with conditionality that's linked to Chinese state capitalism as opposed to the United States and free markets, such as they are. And I mean, just last week, you've got a new draft law, a piece of legislation on national security from China that is included within it that all individuals in China must actually have identification that is tied to their real physical ID. No more anonymity in the Chinese net. I bet you the Russians are going to do the same thing. If you're Apple with your security in the cloud, those markets are going to be fundamentally problematic for you. I don't think that's appreciated in the markets. This is the largest market cap in the U.S. I think that's a problem. I think the Russians can hurt that.
In your must-read morning notes, you put like 6, 7, and 8 geographies together, and then they clash. Andrew Kramer in the New York Times this morning on Islamic units fighting with Ukrainians in Russia. That, to me, shows the exogenous shock, the surprise that could come. What is Ian Bremmer's surprise for July, August, September?
I guess the one thing that no one is really looking at right now, I think the thing that worries me most about Russia is if they lose the World Cup. So I would be actually watching the FIFA negotiations, the plea bargains.
You're serious?
Because I'm absolutely serious. But much more important than the sanctions. We're talking about every oligarch that matters to Putin, who has billions and tens of billions of dollars at stake with half-built stadiums. If he loses this, it's a hit to his support. It's an enormous hit to his face. He will react.
And we go on Bloomberg Surveillance, as we often do, to our FIFA expert, Brendan Greeley.
FIFA.
I don't see how
Russia's separate from Qatar, right?
It's separate from Qatar. So they were conducted in the same vote. They will re-examine that vote. I think they've got to take it away from Qatar. I think that'll happen because it's absurd on the face of it. It's something that even Sepp Blatter conceded. But if we look, I don't see how Russia loses it at this point. We're too close to 2018. There's too much infrastructure already built. And Russia is a plausible place to hold a World Cup.
All true, and I'm not suggesting it's going to happen. If you ask me what was the exogenous shock that makes me worry, precisely because if you rehold it, doesn't have to be 2018. They were moving the month in Qatar. They could move the year for Russia.
Within all that we've got, Ian, one last thought here. The basic idea that Angela Merkel will go against her German people to get a solution to Greece. Is she going to abandon her people and their distance from Athens?
She's still quite popular. Schäuble is more popular this week in Germany, which is shocking to think about, in part because she's been seen as sort of more of an institutionalist. But ultimately, I think Merkel does not want to see this go down on her watch. She's prepared to accept Grexit if you can really blame the Greeks. But what Tsipras has done very effectively over the course of the last week is shifted the narrative so that his no vote
is she lame duck? Is she lame duck like President Obama?
She's very
she's going to win again. I mean, I've read a lot
like crazy.
I've read a lot of analysis recently that really says that she sees her job right now in grand historical terms. Adenauer, Kohl, Merkel. She's not going to be the one who screwed it up.